Come on in. It's the Sports Parlor Podcast, brought to you by BetJack.com. And now, please welcome the guys who know it all, Phil Taylor and Nick Pedone.
Welcome into the Sports Parlor Podcast presented by BetJack.com. I'm your host, Nick Pedone, joined alongside 2011 Cleveland Browns first-round pick, Phil Taylor. Phil, how are you, my friend? Long time no see. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, definitely. So this is going to be a brand new show presented by BetJack.com. We wanted to grab you to tell everybody what you've been up to for the last how many years now since you hung up the cleats and still hanging out here in Cleveland.
Just been chilling, man. Stay-at-home dad, kind of. So it's been awesome, just hanging out with the family and, doing my dog thing. And that's it. Just been low-key, man, just hanging out with the family. Still here, man. Haven't left.
Yeah, so that's a cool part of it, right, is you didn't grow up in Ohio, didn't grow up in Cleveland, selected by the Browns back in 2011, and have called this community home ever since. What's kind of been that like for you? What drew you back to the community after you retired?
I just always loved it here when I got here. Just the fans, man, just the people in Ohio in general, man. Great, loyal people, fun, the atmosphere, the weather. You get the best of all the seasons, so, man, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I've ever heard somebody say that the weather was one of their favorite parts about
It's
living
cool.
in Ohio.
It get pretty cold, but it is cool. I can deal with it.
All right, good to know. So the good news for everybody out there is we're not here to talk about the weather, man. We're here to talk about some football. NFL season's here. College football season's here. We're in the midst of all of it. So we're excited to give people our picks. We're going to talk about some betting stuff. Obviously, we're in Ohio, so we haven't placed any bets ourselves yet.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of take the journey with our audience and with our listeners and kind of learn how to navigate those waters and what we're good at, what we're bad at, as well as we're also going to talk just about the sport, right? We're going to talk about all of them. We got so many sports here in Ohio. We got all the national headlines too. So let's get into that because the AFC North is gridlocked here, all at 1-1.
Tough.
Tough indeed. What did you think about that primetime game? Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs. Baltimore looked like they were staring down 0-2 right in the face, but then they ended up pulling out the dub.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of crazy plays by Lamar and the rest of the offense and things like that. But that defense, man, Baltimore's defense, despite being injured and things like that, they still got it done. So I would say Kansas City has some things to go back and look at because with that being like that and that defense being hurt and having those key guys being out and still losing to a game like that, so yeah, definitely.
So you look at some of these, scores and results, at least from our division here in Ohio. Browns beat up on Houston, won that game by 10. The Bengals lost to Chicago, so that bumped them down to 1-1. The Steelers lost to the Raiders. Maybe a little bit of surprise there. And like you said, the Ravens were able to give Patrick Mahomes his first loss in the month of September. You said that the Chiefs, have some stuff to kind of look back on. For me, I kind of think, is this a blueprint game? Is this something that teams could kind of take a look at and be like, yo, look at how they were able to beat Patrick Mahomes and they were able to kind of create turnovers shorthanded on defense, cause Clyde to fumble at the end?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a blueprint
big.
game?
That was big. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a blueprint game, but you can see what spooks Mahomes back there. Just going back to in the Super Bowl game, how Tampa Bay got after him. You get after any quarterback, man. You make him throw out of a phone book, a phone booth, it'll be tough, man. And just because, he's Mahomes, he's still human.
Yeah, and, we talk about that Baltimore defense. There was, Baltimore still is the odds-on favorite to win this AFC North. The Browns are in second place, second best odds to win the division. Obviously, it kind of seems, even though everything's at 1-1, that, in my opinion at least, it runs through one of those two teams. It's going to run through Baltimore or Cleveland. The Ravens still scare me a little bit. Even shorthanded, I was like, I think the Browns have this, but then I saw them go out there and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm like, dude, I don't know that they have this anymore.
It was tough. But being a former Browns guy, Browns fan, we can still go get it done, man. You keep Lamar contained. That's the biggest thing. But a lot of people, he's been in the league how long now? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
And people still haven't really figured him out yet. So it's like, are they going to figure him out, or they're just, going to keep constantly finding new things?
So that's been the biggest thing, right, is how do you figure out Lamar Jackson? It turns into the thing after every, at the end of every playoffs. It's like, okay, is this the upcoming season where we finally figure out Lamar? Like, it can't go on forever. He's not really a traditional pocket passer. I have fun with people on social media all the time. I'm like, he's a running back. He is a running back playing quarterback. His deep ball really isn't like Big Ben's. It's not like Burrow's. It's not like Baker's. But yet again, they still find ways to win games. He still finds open receivers, and it's so maddening. Do you come from the school of thought that there is a set amount of time left until Lamar gets figured out, or is he just video game?
Just being an asset like that to his team and having being able to move like that and physical like that. I don't know if people can figure it out, because you can say all he uses his feet and run, but I don't think he's truly developed as a pass thrower yet.
Right.
And if he truly figures that out, it's going to be scary. And I don't know who's going to be able to stop him.
Yeah, well, as a Browns fan, I definitely hope that he does not figure that out. And
Facts.
bring back up. People will be bringing back a lot of those old takes of mine on social media, so I hope that doesn't happen. Nationally, the story out of week 2 was the injuries. And Baltimore went into that game, they were banged up. The Browns looked like they really dodged a bullet when Baker Mayfield was able to be okay after he threw that interception and put his best linebacker jersey number on and tried to make the tackle there, and ended up hurting his shoulder. But Tua went down. Carson Wentz went down. Andy Dalton went down. TJ Watt went down in Pittsburgh. What's that like when you have such a big injury, so early on in the season? Does that kind of take the wind out of the sails of kind of the rest of the year?
Coming from the defensive side and, saying I'm putting myself in the Steelers, with TJ Watt going down, he was the captain of that defense, and I'm not sure how bad it is, but I feel as though the guys, they just got to rally. Your big guy is out, but at the same time, you got to keep going. It's always the next man up, and if they're confident in the next man up in any situation, in anybody else's team as well with injuries, just got to be the next man up. But it definitely will be tough with the key guys going down like that.
Yeah, and especially at the quarterback position, it seems now as if the Browns did catch a break. Baker's fine. They were able to pop that shoulder back in. My heart dropped, dude, when he went down to that locker room. I'm like, Case is fine. We know Case is all right, but do you want a guy that's all right, or do you want Baker as your quarterback? I was definitely stressed.
Oh, I was. So I was watching it, man. I was like, oh, we don't need this. We don't need this. But when they say he was cool, I'm like, all right, they'd be all right.
Yeah, and then we were texting kind of as that was going on. You think Schwartz kind of gave up on the route there?
Kind of. You got to go back and look at it and look at everything, but I mean, it does look like he slowed down a little bit, and as a quarterback, that can be hard, and on the quarterback, because that obviously hurts his stats. It didn't really hurt anything for Schwartz, but it hurts, Baker. Baker has to go try to make a play now because of the interception. So yeah.
Yeah, and then you look at other things that happened in that game. It seemed like every time I, look down at my phone in between a play, I look back up at the screen, and there was a injured Houston Texan, injured Houston Brown, or Houston Texan or Cleveland Brown. Somebody was injured. Jarvis Landry, on the IR 3 weeks. That one hurts because you see the Hard Knocks stuff and you see what he brings to that locker room. That's tough, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough, man, but let's hope that 3 weeks is all he needs, what I mean? And they got some other receivers that can, step in and get the job done. Let's hope Odell is, getting close to getting back, and we'll go from there, man. But it's definitely tough that, seeing Jarvis go down on the IR.
Yeah, so a couple things. One, I have to believe that if there's a guy that has to go down on the IR for this mandatory 3 weeks, you would want it to be Jarvis Landry, and you would want it to be right now because the guy is tough as nails, and he's going to be fighting to come back within those 3 weeks. I mentioned it before. I just go back to that Hard Knocks speech where he just, lit into that receiver room that the weakness and the phony injuries and stuff doesn't live here anymore. So when I saw that he was hurt, I was like, man, this is probably pretty serious because I've seen Jarvis play through some hits. But, tough nonetheless. But if it had to be anybody, I think I would prefer it to be him just because we know that he has that in his DNA and that he could kind of have that comeback.
For sure. He would be back for sure. I believe him.
And then something else that you brought up there brings me to my next point is Odell Beckham Jr. So we'll wait for official word from Kevin Stefanski. This is going to come out on Wednesday. If Odell Beckham is going to be good to go. The belief kind of is at this point, right, that he's going to be good. He had a really nice training camp. Everyone said he was ahead of schedule. It's just that they felt like he couldn't handle like the 110%, 100 snap, workload that the Browns wanted to throw him into. What kind of are your expectations for OBJ, Phil, coming off this injury? Because I'm really not exactly 100% sure of how to even gauge where he's at right now.
Coming off of ACL is going to take a while, and obviously they're going to put him out there when he's ready. But even though he's 100% ready in his mind and everybody else, they're still going to keep him on the pitch count because you never know, And that's the thing about summer injuries: you deal with one injury and you're trying to recover, and then you got other nagging things that come up, and it just puts you behind the ball a little bit. But I believe in the organization and Odell, and I think they'll get him out there when he's ready.
So a lot of people are saying that this could kind of be a breakthrough year. We've seen Baker kind of shake through some of the jitters, and I really think that if Odell can come back and be an Odell Beckham that's a veteran with kind of a clear head, clear mind, and a healthy body after this injury, he could be a number one receiver. He could be a Stephon Diggs, a Tyreek Hill, and really take that offense to a level that we haven't even seen, which feels crazy to say because this is one of the best offenses in the league already without Odell Beckham.
Facts. And we haven't really, to be honest, we haven't seen the Odell from New York yet. He's been battling some things, but if we can get that and he's fully healthy, it's going to be a sight to see.
Yeah, if we could get Dallas Odell, like that game against Dallas last season, that's going to be a lot of fun.
For sure.
Well, we got to take a look at another one of our Ohio teams, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals. So they were riding high, 1-0, but then kind of hit a bump in the road, fell to 1-1 this week against the Chicago Bears. We'll get into our picks in a second, but it's a familiar opponent because the Browns have the Bears up now. Andy Dalton, Justin Fields. I think Matt Nagy is out of his absolute mind. I would have played Justin Fields from the second that he was on the clock. I would have ran that card to Commissioner Goodell, said, this is my pick, and not only is he the pick, he's the starter day one. Don't care what happens.
Well, you gotta play that line. They obviously got Dalton before Fields, and in the draft, they didn't think they would get Fields.
Right.
And they happened to get him, so, hey, they're going to take him. But at the same time, the respect that Nagy has for Dalton is top notch. Because at the end of the day, you got to respect. You got to have respect. And by him doing this, it's just showing respect. But by Andy Dalton going down, this is Justin Fields' time to step up and not look back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's one of those things, right, where it's like you open the bag of chips, like you got to eat the whole bag, or else if you don't want to open it, just leave it sealed up. So if they're going to take Justin Fields off the shelf for this game, he's got to prove it. He's got a ball. I hope he doesn't because
you can't start Justin Fields this game and then go back. I mean, technically because of the injury, but if Justin Fields gets in, they win, and he has success, it's history.
And we've seen that, here in Cleveland, right? And I'm sure you had taken part of that in some of the locker rooms that you were in before where it was literally a weekly circus. Like, let me tell you, I know, as a player, you guys tune this stuff out, but on the radio, literally from Monday through Friday, it was who's going to be the quarterback this week? Are we going the Johnny route? Are we going the Hoyer route? Is it going to be Kevin Hogan or somebody else? Like it was a constantly just a carnival and a circus. Is that distracting? It was kind of cool as a fan to watch because there was always something to consume, always something to talk about. But I have to imagine it's at least a tad bit distracting.
It ain't too bad because you got to lock in, man.
Yeah.
And when we're going through practice and meetings and stuff, we really don't, as a defensive guy, we really don't know what the offense is going on. In practice, ones go against ones, two against twos. And if we're having like a QB dilemma, like the first ones would be Manziel or somebody, and the second time the ones go up, it would be a different quarterback. So all the quarterbacks are getting reps against the ones and stuff like that. So, I mean, it wasn't too distracting, but we got questions like after practice in the media about it. So, like any other player, you just kind of, fumble around it.
Yeah, brush it off.
Yep.
Yeah, I've gotten many brush off answers in my short media career. So yeah, I'm with you. I think if they ride with Justin Fields in this game, you can't use the injury as an excuse. Like, you got to see what the kid has. I don't think this is not a hot take by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think the Chicago Bears are winning the Super Bowl this year, no matter if it is Fields or Dalton. So you might as well see what the young kid has.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's what they have to do. I mean, what do you got to lose?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You drafted him first round. Get your money's worth.
Yeah, you might as well check it out. So I'm interested as well to see what's going on with the Cincinnati Bengals, because we just kind of recapped a little bit of the draft where the Bears probably didn't think Fields was going to be there. Bengals kind of had a weird thing. Would you go offensive tackle and protect Joe Burrow, who not only blew out his ACL but also his MCL and had structural damage in there too? That knee was just put in like a blender. Or do you reunite him with his former LSU teammate in Jamar Chase? They went the latter. They got Jamar Chase, and now people are kind of doing the hindsight thing. Well, should they have taken, Penei Sewell from Oregon and got him some protection, or was Chase the right pick? Where are you kind of at with that now that the Bengals are 1-1? They're probably, my takeaway of this is kind of that they're going to be a little bit further away from one of these top teams, no matter which one that they took, right?
I'm kind of in that boat too, cause like you got T. Higgins, Chase now, you got Boyd. I'm like, did they really need another receiver? But at the time, could they pass up on him? You know what I mean? So at the same time, man, if they get it going and find a way to protect Burrow with those weapons, they're going to be hard to stop.
It makes me nervous though. Like, can they get to that point without ruining Joe Burrow? I've seen it a lot here with my favorite team in the Browns. These quarterbacks just get hit over and over and over again, and then it's like their confidence is just shot. It's like if they weren't riding right behind Joe Thomas, it's like, oh no, like just get out the way.
They just got to figure, if they don't have the necessary guys, they got to figure out a scheme. And that means pulling extra guys, leaving in extra guys, chipping ends. You got to do whatever you got to do to protect your quarterback. That's your franchise guy. You got to protect him. So yeah, I mean, they got a little dilemma, but we'll see as the season goes.
Yeah, we'll see. It's definitely still early. This is, one of the things that's tough about doing shows like this in week 2 is it's like, well, who's good and who sucks? The Colts are 0-2, but that probably doesn't mean that their season's over. And then the Cowboys 1-1, but are they Super Bowl bound? Like, the highs and the lows of a season kind of just gotta stay the course, and it's difficult to do here in week 2.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're going to give it our best shot, though, because we got to get into our weekly picks. So this is a segment that we're very excited about, obviously being presented by BetJack.com, which is, Ohio's home for sports betting content, sports headlines, and anything that has to do with the mix of the two of them. What we're going to do is in this segment is run through all of our picks this week. We're going to go ahead and preview every game. Obviously, we got the national games, and then we're going to pick the Ohio teams, the Browns and the Bengals, at the very end. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we gotta keep track, man, because even though I ain't too big into sports betting and stuff like that, I'm gonna beat you.
All right, so it'll be a weekly competition, and we'll see at the end of the year who kind of has the better record in these picks. We'll do these straight up too. So there is everything that goes into sports betting, right? You could bet on the money line, which pretty much means that you're picking winner loser. You could pick against the spread. That gets a little bit more complicated when that math gets involved, and it's like, well, you got to beat them by 12 points, but if if they beat you by 11, you lose money.
Bad beat.
Yeah,
about that.
The bad beats, exactly. We see that segment all the time. And then the over and the unders, which are the combined points together. So in this segment for now, as we're just kind of starting this out, getting our bearings, we will mention things like the spread to give kind of people a gauge of what Vegas is talking about and how, different these teams are. But we're just going to pick winners and losers here for simplicity.
For sure.
All right, well, there's no better way to start this segment than Thursday Night Football, and we do it in Houston, Texas, as the Texans will play host to the Carolina Panthers and Sam Darnold with kind of a career resurgence throughout 2 games in Carolina.
Darnold's looking good, man. Hey, you got CMC to throw the ball to. You got Moore. You got Anderson. Hey, he's like, oh, I needed this.
Yeah, so a little bit of change of scenery for Sam now in Carolina. Panthers are actually 7.5 point favorites on the road. So Vegas thinks that they could beat them by more than a touchdown in this game on the road in Houston. You think they can?
I think they can, for sure, because Houston got a lot of things going on, man. You know, like obviously we got the quarterback, the Deshaun Watson situation. He's not practicing anything.
Right.
You know, they just had an injury. Now we got the rookie coming in, so we got to see what the rookie's going to do. So I mean, I'm definitely going to have to go with Vegas on the 7.5 point favorites for the Panthers.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm probably with you there. I'm going to take the Panthers on the road. Davis Mills, rookie quarterback, 3rd round pick. He looked all right against Cleveland in week 2, but I gotta ride with the favorites in Carolina because Sam looks good right now, and I wasn't a Darnold believer. You know, back in 2018, I was like, Baker is the clear-cut number 1 pick. Darnold was a little bit of a turnover machine kind of guy at USC, and then we saw that definitely show its ugly face at times with the Jets, and injuries kind of stepped in the way there too. But career resurgence for Sam. Give me the Panthers. All right, let's move on to Jacksonville, Florida, as the Jaguars will play host to the Arizona Cardinals. The Urban Meyer experiment is ongoing, and it's 0-2 with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback with a formidable opponent in Arizona. 7.5, again, same exact spread, 7.5 point favorite on the road, and Kyler Murray just looks like a video game over there.
But his new guy, I don't know how to pronounce it. Rondell Moore.
Yeah.
Them two and D-Hop. It's going to be something. But they're going to get that thing going. Now they got Connor at running back and things like that. So Edmonds. Yeah, I'm definitely going with Cardinals on this one as well.
Yeah, I'll pick Arizona in this one too. This is just too easy, kind of pick against the Jaguars there. But I love what Arizona's doing right now, and I love Kyler Murray. I'm a believer in him. He's a short guy like myself, so I got to show him some love. But talk about like quarterback video games and guys that are just absolute glitches. We talked about Lamar Jackson in the beginning of the show. And you kind of had that in like the early Maddens with Michael Vick, where it was like you could literally just run all over the field with this guy, and he's gonna win. You're gonna win with him just because he's a beast. Kyler, in my opinion, is the closest thing to that since Michael Vick, because he could literally run like 20 yards backwards and then just zoom 40 yards forwards.
He got some agility.
Nuts.
He definitely got some agility.
Yeah, he's like a human road runner. So I'm a believer in the Cardinals. I feel like I'm going to find myself picking the Cardinals a lot. They look good. We'll see how their season progresses with Cliff Kingsbury and stuff like that, but the defense too. But I'm picking the Cardinals here. So let's move into New York, technically New Jersey, as the New York Football Giants and Joe Judge play host to the Atlanta Falcons. Phil, I'm going to go right ahead here on record and say I don't think this is going to be a game that I'm going to be tuning into, my friend, because the Giants and the Falcons just that's not getting it done for me there.
I know, man. It was a disappointing show from Saquon, I would say.
Yeah.
But as a guy coming up that had dealt with injuries, I just feel like he's just not there mentally yet, and it shows. Even guys in my fantasy league, they like, man, why did I pick Saquon again? But he got to get it together. You know what I mean? He gonna get it together mentally. But when it comes to the Falcons, man, they got a lot of weapons, and I think for sure. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with the Falcons on this, man. I think the Falcons can really do something with that offense if they can really get it going and stuff like that. The rookie Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, so the Giants at home are 3.5 point favorites in this game. When you see that kind of line and when a team is at home, they generally get 3 points. So they give you like a 3-point advantage, does Vegas, just for playing at home. So Vegas is pretty much saying that this game is a toss-up. They don't know which way it's going to go. But I'm going to actually go against you, Phil, on this one. This will be our first one that we differ on. I'm going to pick New York. I think, Danny Dimes, he also has some weapons. I definitely don't trust him as much as I trust Matt Ryan probably, but Darius Slayton is good. He could get downfield. Can he hold on to the ball? That's to be seen. I like their tight end, Evan Engram. You said it, Saquon. It's only a matter of time until that dude comes back, and then the new addition, Kenny Galladay. He could take the top off that defense, and I think this could possibly be the game against that suspect Atlanta defense where that could happen.
We'll see. It'd be like a 30-30 game, I'll say.
Yeah, and I won't be watching it. So ESPN app, here we come, because that's not that exciting of a game. Okay, we head to Detroit, and this could be a lock of the week as the Baltimore Ravens visit Ford Field to play the Detroit Lions. Just got to look at those Lions in primetime on Monday Night Football. Jared Goff looks blank. What say you?
All right. Getting there.
So in this game, the Ravens are 9-point favorites on the road. They obviously are riding high coming off that win against Kansas City. It seems like a lot of points. The Ravens really don't have a running back. They just use 500 of them plus Lamar. And the Lions might just be a mess, and Matt Campbell might have to go back to biting off kneecaps.
Yeah, like I said, man, Ravens, I don't think – only people that get in the way of the Ravens winning this one is the Ravens. Even though their offense is really not defined in the kind of the way of like the running back situation, but they find a way, you know. And Jim Harbaugh, he gets his guys together and rallies them every week. So we will see. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Vegas on this one.
Yeah, I'm picking them too. Give me the Ravens on the road. Give me the points too, because Detroit might have a hard time finding many wins on that schedule. Let's go to Tennessee, where the Titans and the Colts kind of have a conference clash here. Colts 0-2, Titans 1-1. They avenged their ugly loss to open the year against Arizona. In this game, the Titans are 5-point favorites on the road, at home rather. In this game, I think the biggest thing for me has to be the Carson Wentz injury. Carson Wentz has got not one but two bad ankles. How's that happen?
Yeah, and I saw that one get rolled up on by Aaron Donald. That was a tough one. And yeah, I don't know. So who are they gonna if he doesn't play?
So they have a rookie in Indianapolis. His name is Jacob Eason. I don't know which round they drafted. Yeah, kind of a mid-round pick. Not really sure what he's capable of. A bit of an unknown. So we'll see what he could do. Carson Wentz, I feel like, is a bad faller. And let me explain what I mean by this. Some quarterbacks, when they get sacked, like, it looks very normal. Yeah. Carson Wentz, when he gets sacked, it looks like he just mashes all the buttons. He's trying to throw it away. He's trying to run out of it. And it just ends out really ugly every time. And now he's got two bad ankles.
Yeah, that's tough. That's definitely tough.
So I think I'll take Tennessee at home in this one. I think Derrick Henry is so good. Every year we do this thing, like, is Derrick Henry going to fall off? He's so big. You know, he's been doing it for so long. How much more could he continue to take the hits? But he
got me 47 points in fantasy. He can do it every week. He can do it. But, yeah, just him being big, and, like, a lot of people think, you know, how will he hold up, you know what I'm saying, longevity-wise. But he's showing that he's keeping himself healthy, you know, staying active during the off season and things like that to stay, you know what I'm saying, preventative of any type of injuries and things like that. So have to go with Vegas again.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, we're riding a lot of favorites here, and I feel like that trend isn't going to slow up as our next game is in Arrowhead Stadium. Tremendously difficult place to play. You got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes coming off a loss. You know they're not happy about that, and they got a young quarterback coming up from you know, through LA. So it's a far trip kind of
conference game right here, baby.
Yeah, across country in a conference game for the Los Angeles Chargers. This game, Chiefs 6.5-point favorites over Los Angeles. I have no analysis. Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think I mean, Herbert, man, I think it'll be a shootout. You know, I think it might be like a, you know, 42-38 game, 35 game, you know. So
you're high on the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, their offense has been working, man. You got Eckler, man. He's a pass catcher and a runner. So, I mean, they got some weapons, you know, and their defense with Bosa and James. The Chargers are not slouch at all, you know. So, they're gonna come to play. And it's a conference game. So, yeah, they're going to come to play. But I would say, yeah, I would take Vegas on this, but it still can go either way.
All right, so we both have the Chiefs in that one. We head to New England. And the Patriots fascinate the hell out of me. We'll get to that in a second. In Foxborough, the Patriots are going to play host to the New Orleans Saints and Jameis Winston. A lot of storylines to follow here. Obviously, Jameis Winston with his third start for NOLA at quarterback. New England, though, they're finding a way with the young Mac Jones.
Man, that's going to be a tough one. And like the whole Cam situation, I feel as though I would have liked to see him finish it out, at least on the field. But Mac Jones, they drafted him for a reason, and it's his time to shine now. And with the Saints, man, you got Big Jameis, man, trying to eat these W's. So, yeah, I mean, 2.5 points, Patriots, that can go either way. Man, Vegas know how to pick them, though, man. Sheesh.
Yeah, they do it for a reason. They're pretty good at what they do, kind of setting some of these odds. It's going to be a difficult game to pick. I think I like New England, though, just because they're at home. I have such a hard time picking against Bill Belichick.
It's tough to beat New England in New England. But at the same time, man, if Jameis can rally these guys and get this offense going and the defense can start to click, it can go the other way. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Vegas on that one as well.
Is that a New England thing, or is that like a Bill thing? Like, is that the fans, or is that just Bill knows how to dial in that team so that makes, Foxborough such a difficult place to go into?
Both, man, both. I played there, so, yeah, both. Definitely both.
Cool. So let's head to our next game. We head to Orchard Park. Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. They definitely were able to turn it around, coming off a 35-0 victory against the Miami Dolphins. The Washington football team is on the road in this one. I really like the football team's defense, but even despite that, very good and impressive defense, especially up front, Chase Young. Bills are 9.5-point favorites here at home against the football team.
I just think they only put him as a 9.5-point favorite because of the inexperience at quarterback for Washington.
Yeah.
And Heineke. But Heineke found, if you watch the last game, he found his favorite receiver in McLaurin. So, yeah, I mean, if they can get that going again and get that running game going with Gibson, Washington's going to be tough to beat because the defense is already established with Big John. I've been in the locker room with these guys. Big John, Payne, Matt Ioannidis, all these guys on defense. Now they got Sweat and Chase. Man, if Washington's not the best defensive front/defense by the end of the season, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned some of those guys up front. It's nuts. It's just, can that offense figure it out? And I think they can. I like that Heineke plays with a little bit of that, kind of Baker Mayfield swag. He was in the XFL literally this time last year and found his way into the National Football League now with a chance as a starting quarterback. I wish they didn't have such a difficult opponent here, though, in Buffalo, because Buffalo is just a stacked roster top to bottom. I want to pick Washington so bad, but I'm going to pick the Bills.
I'm gonna go Washington.
There it is.
I'm gonna go Washington. That's one of my old squads, man. And as a kid growing up, I was a Washington fan. So yeah, I'm gonna go Washington, man, for sure. And the defense got to play though. The defense coming to play, and bottle in Josh Allen. They definitely can win the game.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be, you talked about that Chargers-Kansas City game. I think that one could be closer than people realize. And definitely if I was betting on the Bills, that 9.5, that seems like a lot of points. I don't know that they could win by 9.5 with how good Washington's defense is.
For sure.
All right, let's go to Denver, another difficult place to play. The Mile High City is the Broncos and the Jets. Probably another game that I won't be watching, but Teddy Bridgewater has the Broncos at 2-0, so you can't throw too much shade on him. Teddy looks good.
Teddy, man, he got a lot to prove, man, and I always roll with Teddy, man. But, yeah, defense, you got Vaughn back out there. He's definitely got something to prove. A lot of guys got a lot to prove on that team, man, and don't sleep on the Broncos now. Jets, I don't really know what's going on with the Jets, but Michael Carter at running back, I think he's been shining a little bit. And Zach Wilson had a day, didn't he?
No. I was like, is this guy gonna really finish the game with more?
Yeah, I thought they was gonna pull him after that, but I mean, yeah, he can. You can call it 3-0 for the Broncos if he show up the way he showed up last week, but. Yeah, I'm gonna go Broncos on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Broncos at home as well, man. 11-point favorites. That's huge, and if Vic Fangio and Teddy, combined could kind of find a way to keep rolling. You look at some of the NFL prop bets, they weren't too kind to Vic Fangio. They thought that he could have been one of the first coaches out this year. But if him and Teddy find some magic, especially early, they're going to let him ride. Elway will let him ride.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to take Denver at home there. Let's stay up north in some chilly cities as Minnesota Vikings are going to host the Seattle Seahawks. Danger Russ in the month of September, we always know, is something to look out for. I'm a fan of Seattle. Usually that's kind of like my NFC team. But, I don't know. Two teams that are kind of both trying to find their ways, it feels like. Saying that nicely.
True. I feel as though, like, I've always been a Seahawks fan as well, just, what I'm saying, since Marshawn was there. And I feel like they got to find that. Chris Carson's a hell of a running back, but I feel like they be rotating. They got to get back to that Marshawn Beastquake, year when they just toting that thing. They got receivers too, so, I mean, they can go back and forth. But 1.5-point favorites over the Vikings, I would say only because of the Vikings offense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Cook and Jefferson, man, them guys put up some numbers. But we're going to see how Cousins going to do. So, yeah. I'm going to go with – that's tough, though. It's going to be a shootout, man. Danger Russ and freaking Kirk Cousins. Let's think about Kirk, man. He'll lull you to sleep and just throw up some points.
All right, so you're going Kirk. I'm going to stick with Russ. Give me Seattle, so we'll go against each other there. But I feel like Seattle, you talk about kind of always pulling for them. They're kind of like us in a weird way here in Cleveland. Like, their fans just care so much. Like, they get into that stadium.
The 12th man.
The 12th man, they're so loud. They like us in a different way. They lost their basketball team, so the city is a little still, peed off about that, and they really just rally behind the Seahawks. So, super cool to see. I'm picking Seattle in this one over Minnesota. Let's head to the new, beautiful, brand new, and very beautiful SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California. That's got to be the coolest stadium I've ever seen.
I saw it, man, and I saw the pictures, and they got the new NFL network, or whatever the little NFL thing is, right next door to it. Man, it's awesome. It's great. They got money though.
Yeah, definitely a lot of money tied up into that thing, and they're gonna get their money's worth because this is gonna be a great game. As the Los Angeles Rams with Matt Stafford look awesome. They're, going to host Tampa Bay, and Tom Brady will have a thing or two to say about some of the buzz, in the talking heads are saying, well, maybe the Rams are legit. Maybe the Rams could be the team to knock off Tampa Bay. I wish this thing was in prime time. Rams are just 1.5-point favorites. So Vegas has absolutely no idea what's going to come of this one.
Yeah, that's tough. And I'm crazy that they actually picked the Rams over Tom, but the Rams, man, they look so good.
Yeah.
And with the defense that they have, crazy. But, yeah. I mean, this game, it's a toss-up, man. And
it really is. It really is because
both teams got great quarterbacks, great defenses, great running backs, receivers. It's like, what is the turning point? You know, what's the win con for each team? You got to figure that out on the team. Two great teams like that. But I guess when in doubt, go with Vegas. I'm gonna go with the Rams.
All right, so you're gonna go with the Rams. I can't pick against Tom, dude. I think Tom is so good, and I think, we know that he's like this tape grinder, right? Like, he just wakes up at middle of the night and he's like, okay, time to watch tape, and just watches it. I think he's gonna, rewatch some of these first two Rams games with the new look defense, minus John Johnson III, who's on our Browns now, and really figure this thing out and give me Brady. I feel icky picking against them, so I'm gonna pick Tom.
You going Brady, but I'm going Rams because Aaron Donald going to see Brady. So,
all right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Let's get into a primetime football matchup as the San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy G, Kyle Shanahan, still running strong over there in San Francisco, will host Aaron Rodgers, the bad man, in San Francisco. The 49ers, 3.5-point favorites in this one. Packers looked good last night, albeit against Detroit. I like Green Bay though. I like Aaron Rodgers. Dude, he's good. He scares me because I feel like at the drop of a bucket he could just leave and go host Jeopardy. But at the same time, he's nuts.
You're right about that because it's like, dang, is him and LaFleur fighting again this week? You know, like you never know with them. But last night, man, he looked like the old Rodgers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 49ers. I'm gonna go with Packers on this one for sure. But Jimmy G, he got a lot to prove. Or is it gonna be what's his name? You never know.
Trey Lance.
Yeah, you see, yeah. But yeah, we gonna see. But I'm gonna go with Packers on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Green Bay too. It's definitely interesting, and it'll be something that we follow all season long because Aaron Rodgers is such just a polarizing figure nationally, and you know he did host Jeopardy. He did well at it. He wasn't agreeing with LaFleur at the time. I was like, this guy really might be the Jeopardy host and like not do football anymore. I was like, that'd be the most insane thing ever. But we see crazy stuff happen in the NFL all the time. I'm picking Green Bay though. I believe in Rodgers. I believe in Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. There's a lot of offensive firepower, and then you mentioned Jimmy G. At quarterback, not the most mobile guy in the world. If Green Bay could dial something up to get after him, it is going to be a very, very long night for that San Francisco.
Oh yeah, and I think
they're without Mostert too.
And I think Green Bay should be. Yeah, they'll probably beat them by more than 3.5 points though.
So Phil's taking the spread and just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, for that one at least.
All right, let's head on over to Monday Night Football, where the Dallas Cowboys at Jerry's World are going to host the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts looks good. NFC East matchup. I'm not gonna bash the Eagles, even though they definitely stunk last year, but Dallas looks good. You do this trap every offseason where it's like the Cowboys are going to be good. The Cowboys are going to – Stephen A. gets all worked up and
wait
starts
week
yelling. And then week 8 happens and the wheels fall off the wagon. Oh, this is crazy for me to say on our first episode doing this. I think the Cowboys are good for real this time.
I'm going to have to agree with you, man, but you can't hate on the Eagles either, man, with Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts is proved he can be a winner on, every level. And he's been proving that on this level as well now. So I think he's going to go out there with some confidence. But you got to go back to these Cowboys, man. They were rolling on all cylinders last week, man. You got CeeDee Lamb out there making plays, Cooper out there making plays, man. It don't matter who it was. They was out there making plays. And, yeah. I'm going to go with Cowboys on this one too, man. If they can get Zeke going, like Zeke, he got going a little bit, and Pollard got a lot of shine too. But if Zeke can get back to doing what he's doing on the side with Pollard, yeah, they'll be tough.
Yeah, so Cowboys are 4-point favorites in this game. I trust that offense enough that I think, this is one of those games where I think I could see them definitely winning by a touchdown or more. By that, I mean Dallas, because like you said, Zeke seemed just inches away from breaking those big classic runs that we saw him do earlier in his career, all the way back at Ohio State too. I'm going to pick Dallas in this one. I think I'm going to pick Dallas big. I'm a believer.
Got you on that one.
All righty, let's head to some of our local Ohio matchups. Before we get into the Bengals and before we get into the Browns, let's do a little something wild. Let's do a little something crazy. Let's go into college football. Ohio State has just an absolute hilarious betting matchup. As as you do some of these spreads, we ran through our list. 4-point favorite, 3.5-point favorite. The most that we saw, I think, this week was the Ravens were a 9-point favorite on the road 11, against maybe. Detroit. Yeah.
11.
Denver was 11.
Yep.
Denver was 11. So these don't get too crazy because any given Sunday, Vegas doesn't want to get burnt. Any team could win any Sunday. But this is a little bit different when we get to the college level because you have matchups like we have on Saturday under the lights in Columbus, nighttime game for the Akron Zips on the road against the Ohio State Buckeyes. That just feels like it's a beatdown waiting to happen. The Buckeyes are 49-point favorites. So if you were to bet on the Buckeyes spread, you would need Ohio State to win by 50 points or more to make any money on that game at all.
They probably put that in the first half, though. Watch.
You think?
I think they can. 49. Man, it's college, man.
Yeah.
It's college. You got they throw it like it's nothing in college nowadays, man. But 49, that's a crazy spread to cover, but I mean it can be done. That's like something you'll see like when RG3 was back at Baylor, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see some shit like that. But yeah.
Yeah, so let's actually look at this, because Ohio State has had the weirdest start to the season. You know, they lost the game to Oregon, where a lot of people thought they should have won. CJ Stroud is a young dude. Like, he's 19 years old. It's going to take some time. The running game looks good. The defense looks really bad. And I don't know what to make of the Buckeyes. So maybe this is one of those games you play a MAC school. You know, they're literally practicing probably outside right now as we record this in the rain. They don't even have an inside facility. And could this be kind of a get back on track game for Ohio State?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a stat game. And one of those games to fine tune everything before they start to really get into conference play. So, yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be one to look at and see what Ohio State's going to do, you know what I'm saying, going forward for the rest of the season.
So we're both picking Ohio State. Do you think Ohio State could beat the 49-point spread? Do you think they win by 50 or more against Tom Arth's Akron Zips?
You never know, man. Even in college, you never know, man. This team, Akron can come out there and be like, nah, y'all not beating us. They might beat it, but it might be like by 15 points, 20 points. But you never know. I haven't really looked at Akron this year, so
No, me neither.
So I'm going to go with Vegas on this one, and I'll take the 49.
All right, so you think they're going to cover. I'm going to take the Zips. I'll take the Zips that they're going to be able to cover. I think Ohio State's going to beat them and do so handsomely, but I think it'll be around 35-39. I don't know if I could – 50 points is just too much for me.
They got something to prove, man. 50.
They do. They have something to prove.
They got to go 50 out the gate.
They've been struggling, so we'll see. Yeah, maybe they play pissed off, and maybe I look like an idiot after this clip goes out. But I'm gonna take Akron to cover that 49. I don't know why. I haven't seen any Akron football, but something tells me pick the underdogs, pick the Zips. So give me Akron there. All right, let's get back to the NFL though, and we go to Pittsburgh, place that you're familiar with, as the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow try to get their season back on track. Tough opponent to do it with Big Ben and the Steelers. At home, Heinz Field, tough place to play. Hate to admit it. I've went and checked out a couple of games there. It seems like in that third quarter, they turn on Renegade, and then just like all hell breaks loose.
Been there, done that. But, yeah. I mean, the Steelers, they got a lot of injuries, so you never know how that's going to do. And a lot of their injuries appear to be on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
So that cannot be, got Joe Hayden, he's down right now with a groin. And you got all these wide receivers from the Bengals coming in, and, they're gonna test that the secondary with these injuries, depending on if these guys are able to come back before the game or not.
So the Steelers are 4.5-point favorites in this one. So even with the injuries, Vegas is like, no, the Steelers are still going to win by more than just a field goal.
It could be a toss-up, man. If Joe Burrow can, come out there, and put those receivers in good positions, and that offensive line can actually block for him. Hopefully, hopefully for them, I mean, with T.J. Watt being out, it'll be a lot easier. So yeah, we'll definitely see about that. But I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna go with the Bengals on this.
You're gonna go with the Bengals.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
I hate picking Pittsburgh because I hate Pittsburgh, but for the
same here. So that's why I wanted the Bengals.
All right, well, I'm trying to beat you in this matchup that we got going on, so I'll pick the Steelers. But if the Bengals do pull this out, I might not pick Pittsburgh again for the rest of the year. You might have me beat
I'm going to hold you to that.
All right.
No matter who they playing, you can't pick them.
Yeah, because if the Bengals pull this out and then embarrass me, not only did I pick against an Ohio team, but then it's Pittsburgh of all cities and of all teams, I'll feel really dumb. But I got to pick the Steelers. I got to go with the talent there. The act that you've all been waiting for, the Cleveland Browns at home. First Energy Stadium was rocking on Sunday. It's going to be rocking again. The Brownies, 7.5-point favorites against the Chicago Bears. We previewed a little bit at the beginning of the show. The Bears, we're not sure. Could it be Andy Dalton? Could it be Justin Fields? We'll find out later in the week. either way, Browns got to roll in this one. I'm picking the Browns.
Oh, yeah, I'm picking Browns. It don't matter. But at the same time, I would, if I'm on the Browns, I want Andy Dalton out there before Justin Fields.
Really? Now tell me more. Tell me more about that. You think Justin Fields, is it his just like pure athletic ability? Is it a bit of the unknown, or is it just you have no faith in Andy Dalton?
It's more of the unknown, but at the same time, just being him and his athletic ability puts a different type of strain on the defense. You're gonna have to keep an eye on him at all times because he can run the ball. Where Andy Dalton, he can get away a little bit, but at the same time, you can lax a little bit in that situation. So I'm definitely, as a defensive guy, whoever's out there for the Browns, they're gonna be practicing as if Field is out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're gonna be but Clowney and Miles, they'll give him a nice little welcome him in, I think.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about this Browns defense. Kind of off to a slower start, at least, in terms of yardage. They're not putting up points, which is what's important, in my opinion at least. Points are what wins the game. So if you bend but don't break, I'm all right with where the defense is at. But then you log on to Twitter and you get on the radio and you hear some of these people that are really mad at Joe Woods, really mad at the defense. I think you got to give them time. I've said that from the jump. It takes new defenses time to gel. It doesn't matter if it's the Texans with Tyrod Taylor or Davis Mills, or, if it is Justin Fields, who's a little bit more dynamic, and Allen Robinson, who's a little bit better. It takes defenses time to figure it out. So I'm definitely not bailing on the Browns defense quite yet.
Not at all. It's only game 2. And it takes more than 3-4 games before, offense or defense can really gel. Because you have to, even with coaching, with me playing, you have to wait. A lot of defensive coaches will wait at least to get a 4-game synopsis on a team so they can really know. You can't just judge a team off of 2 games. You know what I'm saying? So they wait to get at least 4 games. Or if it's week 2, they'll go to the first 2 weeks of the NFL season and then 2 weeks of the preseason. So they got to get 4 games. So, yeah.
All right, cool. So, yeah, definitely no reason to freak out yet to anybody that's, that might be in that party, might be starting to panic. The Browns are 7.5-point favorites in this game, meaning that they need to win by more than a touchdown for people to cash money on that spread. If it's Justin Fields, I feel like that might be a little bit difficult to do with this defense. But then again, you factor in the fact that Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be back for this game, and the Browns' offense is just so good. That 7.5 is going to be tough. I think they could be right on the money there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They get Chubb and Hunt going, it's going to be smooth sailing, man.
Smooth sailing? So you think they could win by more than a touchdown?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. So I'll go with you on that. Browns by more than a touchdown. And Phil, that's our weekly picks. That was a whole lot of fun. We'll have to come back and we'll circle back next week and we'll see who has the better score.
Let's see how bad we did next week.
Yeah, we'll have a season-long record that people can kind of follow along with. So that'll definitely be a lot of fun. Any final thoughts as we head into NFL Week 3?
I think that's it. And it ain't our fault if you lose your money.
Yeah, good disclaimer. You got to give them that disclaimer every week. That'll be our official disclaimer. It's not our fault. So we thank you guys so much for checking out the first episode of the Sports Parlor podcast. If you enjoyed this, feel free to toss us a follow. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Pods, we're on Google Pods, wherever you get your audio podcasts. But then if you are listening to this on audio, we're also on YouTube too, so you could see Phil and I's charming faces here in the BetJack studio and check out these picks in studio with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do this every week. Phil, it's been a blast, my friend, and I cannot wait to do it again next week.
Oh, yeah.